So, just as a quick reminder that this information is for education purposes only, and should not really influence any decision making. Please reach out to your own doctor to discuss any risks and benefits before you start any treatment. So today we are going to be talking about feeling stressed and sluggish. So I'm just going to give you some ideas and tip points about how to have a better healthy living, and also because that healthy living, better healthy styles basically equate to better hair. So number one is sleep. It's actually studies have shown that we require about 8 hours sleep every night. And sleep is really important basically for the body to generate more proteins, and you need the proteins to build hair because hair is pretty much all made of protein. Sunshine is really, really important because when you get the sunshine will allow you to get basically vitamin D, and the vitamin D is an essential component of the cells to make keratin, and keratin is a major component of your hair. So now if you can't get in this for the sun, you can also supplement with vitamin D, and this is why a lot of our super capsules has vitamin D in it. Exercise is really, really critical because exercising reduces your stress level, and we know as a fact that patients that are more stressed and more anxious basically tend to have more hair loss. So exercise is very important. Even like brisk walking, swimming, playing with your kids, as long as your kids are not pulling on your hair, things like that will really make like a huge difference. So, and also it's really important to kind of like track your steps and activity, because you really want to see something that's going to monitor you that you're doing like a moderate amount of activity. Then having a good support system is actually good because it really helps you with your mental and physical well-being. And our bodies respond really well to positive reinforcement, and studies basically have linked that to basically like to a positive mindset to a good living, and good living results to basically good hair. So the other things I want to talk about is the food that we eat, is the ingredients that we eat. So iron is really, really critical, and the reason is because iron is an essential component of basically building hair. So iron basically is absorbed by your blood capillaries, and iron is needed to basically transfer oxygen to basically everywhere else in your body, especially your scalp and your hair. And getting more nutrients to your scalp basically results in better hair growth. So iron is very important, and there are basically things that you could eat that have more iron, like whole grains and dried fruits, but also taking a supplemental iron tablets is very important. Iron is critical in women, especially during periods, basically because they're having periods that they're losing basically blood, and as a result you lose iron. So it's really, really critical. The other thing that's really important is protein. So your hair is made of protein, so supplement your diet with good protein is very, very important. And unfortunately, we have like a lot of patients that are vegan that come see me and they're losing a lot of hair. And sometimes it's a matter of just adding more protein to the diet that will make a huge, big difference. So meats, eggs, cottage cheese, nuts, berries, those are all really important. Or adding just protein powders like whey protein concentrate or pea protein. Those are really critical. Zinc is also really important, and you can get zinc basically in like pumpkin seeds and salads. Seafood is also really good, and eggs are also a great source of zinc. And vitamin C is also really important in supporting a very strong immune system and also building collagen. And remember, you need collagen for good hair. So a lot of people will take like a vitamin C tablet, like 500 milligrams twice a day. It's great for your hair. It's great for your skin. And a good areas to get vitamin C is Brussels sprouts, cabbage, strawberries, things that are citrusy. So those are also really important. And also your omegas are very important because the omega-3s, because they're part of like of your fatty acids. I need those fatty acids basically again for your good brain and heart function. And again, a good mindset is also equates to a good healthy living and also good hair. So now lightning round, guys. So we're gonna have like a small quiz, and whoever answers this question is going to win a prize. Is that right? Perfect.
Yeah.
So here we go. So what are the top 3 things everyone needs for a healthy metabolic rate, metabolism? So A, sleep, exercise, and sunshine. B, sunshine, exercise, and a support animal. Or C, exercise, love, and sunshine. That's a good one. Please answer these in the chat, and we're gonna pick we're gonna pick a winner. What is a natural source of vitamin C? Butter, red meat or citrus, and how many hours of sleep is recommended for to stay healthy? 5 to 7 hours, as many as I could get, or 8 hours. So please write those in the chat. And that being said, we're going to start answering some questions here. So, will hair transplant and hair follicles that have been accidentally plucked grow back? Usually they do, and especially if you do the oral and topical happy end, they will grow more. I apply the serum 2 hours before bed. I'm sure that throughout the night, some of it transfers from my pillow and onto my face. Can that be a problem? If so, what can I do? It's usually not a problem, guys. In females, sometimes that topical minoxidil will cause a little more peach fuzz growth on the face, but it's usually not a problem. I want to combine finasteride and dutasteride in a bottle, but I want to know, will that make me go into a shedding as I'm currently using the dutasteride bottle? The answer is that typically no. I'm the guy who wrote to you, the person who has the neurological dizziness, so I stopped my oral minoxidil and I talked with the dutasteride for 3 months. I had a lot of shedding, and I've been back on the oral minoxidil for 12 weeks now. So yeah, so you could go on again. So we have our topical finasteride with dutasteride combined. Usually, the finasteride and dutasteride does not cause initial hair shedding, so definitely you could go on it, and you should be fine. Do you have any experience dealing with someone who is taking Mounjaro for diabetes type 2? Will this serum work in this case? So we actually have a lot of patients taking Mounjaro and also taking Ozempic. And they are doing, they do pretty well. The question really is, so there are some patients that experience shedding while on Mounjaro and Ozempic, and the question is it the medication that's causing the shedding, or is it the fact that you're losing like a lot of weight in a very short period of time that's causing the shedding? I think it's the latter, but there really hasn't been really much studies about it. But you could definitely use Mounjaro and also do the topical serums and even the oral pills at the same time, and you should be fine. So let's talk about some of our super capsules. So we currently have several super capsules. We have the male super capsules and we have the female super capsules. The male super capsule, we have 2 versions. Our super capsule is designed to make your life easy. So, and by that, what it means is that there's 3 ingredients all in one. So it's minoxidil, finasteride, and vitamin D. And the reason why we have those 3 is because we're trying to address different cause of hair loss. So finasteride is a testosterone blocker. So by having finasteride in the pill, it's going to block the DHT production, which causes hair loss and miniaturization. Number 2, the minoxidil causes more blood flow to the scalp. So by having minoxidil in the pill, basically increases blood flow to the scalp, and bring more nutrients to the hair follicles and cause more hair growth. And the vitamin D is really critical because a lot of patients unfortunately lack vitamin D. So we added vitamin D in there. So instead of taking 3 different pills, you're just taking 1 pill. It streamlines the process. It makes it easier for patients to take it. And from our data, we see that more patients really like the super capsule. And a lot of patients are combining the super capsule with the topical, and they're even seeing better results. Again, for guys, we have 2 versions of that super capsule. One version has the finasteride in it, and the other one has dutasteride in it. Then we have our female super capsules. Female super capsules are designed to streamline the entire process and also to address some of the most common issues of hair loss, basically in females. And again, those common causes are very similar to males. One is testosterone. So we have low dose spironolactone, which actually blocks. It's a testosterone analog, so it blocks the testosterone from binding to a receptor. And then we have minoxidil, which basically increases your blood flow basically to your scalp. And having both in the same pill, basically just addressing a couple different issues of hair loss, and patients typically tend to get better results. And you also have vitamin D, and the vitamin D is also important because a lot of people don't take a lot of vitamin D. They're not out in the sun a lot. So vitamin D is an important part of hair growth. So those are super capsules. The question that always comes is that people ask all the time, like, can I combine the super capsule pills with our topical? And the answer is yes. Our only recommendation is that you don't want to do both simultaneously at the same time. Reason being because it may increase your risk of side effects. So our recommendation is like, start with one, do it for a couple of weeks, make sure you're doing okay, no side effects, and add the other one. Another version that people are doing is that they can alternate, so they do topical one day and the oral the next day. So then your body kind of gets used to it as you wrap up. We also talked about nutrition this morning and the ingredients, basically stuff that you need for good, healthy living. All these medications are important, but at the same time, what you eat is also very important. So we typically recommend patients not to have like a lot of processed foods. So the less processed foods, the better, and avoiding energy drinks, soy milk, testosterone injections, anabolic steroids, creatine. Avoiding all those is very helpful. But at the same time, adding some of the stuff that our body needs is also critical. So, for example, vitamin D is really important, and what we usually recommend is vitamin D3 2000 IUs a day. If you don't know your vitamin D, I highly recommend you go to your own doctor and have it checked out, just do a blood test. Also, iron is really critical, especially in females. We need the iron to produce, basically to carry more oxygen to our scalp and to the hair follicles, basically to bring nutrients. So having a good iron storage is really critical. And unfortunately, a lot of doctors put in like the wrong lab order. So it's actually ferritin that you want to check. Ferritin is a real iron storage number. So people that have low ferritin, that's not good. So particularly females that have a period on a monthly basis, and especially if you have a heavy period, that's not good either. So our recommendation is to add an iron tablet every day to your diet, or eat stuff that are just more in iron. So you have the vitamin D and iron, which are really critical, and obviously adding more protein to your diet, adding more collagen to your diet, that's also really critical as well. Again, please remember that Happy is a customizable formula. So with respect to the topical, there are three major ingredients, which includes the minoxidil, finasteride, and retinoic acid. The reason why we have a retin-A in there is because the retinoic acid increases the absorption of the minoxidil and makes it work better. So, and then we have the finasteride and minoxidil. If by the chance you are having some side effects, and some of the most common side effects may be irritation of the scalp from the minoxidil, please reach out back to support, help@happia.com, and our support team basically will guide you through it. The easiest things to do basically with the topic of it's causing irritation is, one, you could start doing it twice a day, you could do it once a day. Two, you could wash it out like after 2 hours at night. So you could put on 8 o'clock at night and then wash it out by 10, and you'd still be good. Three, we could reduce some of the concentration of the minoxidil, or we take the retinoic acid out. So you have to reach out to support so we can help you. There's also what we call the aqueous-based formula, which is the water-based formula where we take out 80% of the alcohol from the bottle. It's a special formula, but it works really well for patients that have sensitive scalp. So my recommendation is that if you have some issues, please reach out to us and we can guide you in the right direction. Trying to see if there's any other questions that we have. Okay.
Popping up here. We have something.
Oh yeah, they're not popping at all. Yes. Okay. So is it safe to start with the advanced formula? Yes, it is safe to start with the advanced formula. I just want you to it's really important basically to kind of titrate up slowly. So basically my recommendation would be like the first week only doing once a day or once every other day, then go up to once a day and then go up to twice a day. So that's my recommendation. What are the ingredients in the hair supplements? Why do we choose these ingredients? And what makes Happy a different competitors? So actually the supplements are really important. So we actually sat down as a team and we evaluated like a lot of clinical articles and clinical studies, and to realize basically what is it that our body needs for really good healthy hair growth. So what's in the vitamins is our keratin, collagen, probiotics, high dose of basically vitamin D, biotin, and also iron. So and those are what's really critical basically for hair growth. And these are like a lot of stuff that actually we talked about this morning. So thank you for asking this question. And we took basically all that information basically from this morning that we talked about, and we put in our in our vitamin, and it's a really good vitamin and people like it quite a bit. So what is the Latanoprost formula? So this is basically Latisse. So what Latisse is, it's a formula that basically causes hair growth that is mainly used for eyelash or eyebrow growth. And we took that ingredient and we added into our bottles. And by adding it into a bottle, basically it just causes more hair growth. So now we have finasteride, which is a testosterone blocker. We have minoxidil, which increases blood flow to the scalp. We have renoic acid, hydrocortisone, and now we have added the tanoprost. So we have many ingredients packed into one for just better hair growth. I'm taking the topical finasteride minoxidil and getting good results. So that's great. Should I change the topical finasteride dutasteride minoxidil advanced formula to get more density? Well, it depends. Look, if you're already seeing good results at the standard formula, I would probably stay there. Once you plateau, then you can go ahead and basically switch over to the advanced formula. Is juicing any good for your body in general, and can it help my hair growth? So that's a good question. I mean, so some are you talking about going on like a juicing diet or just? So you have to be careful. Yeah. So it's well, the truth matter is, unfortunately, when people go on those juice cleanses, you're actually lacking like a lot of the proteins that you need. So you're getting some of like the good vitamins like vitamin C and vitamin D and iron, but you're missing some of the protein component, unfortunately. So that's the problem with the juice cleanse. But like a lot of juice cleanses are like short-lived. So I don't think it's gonna hurt you that much.
A good diet and then juicing.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So if you have a good diet, which basically is high in protein, and you're juicing on top of it, that's the best combination. How often should I be doing derma rolling, and what is the ideal hair routine? So we typically recommend that if you use a 0.25 derma roller, you can actually derma roll every night. So our recommendation is apply the topical, happy it on top, and gently roll basically back and forth. That's going to be help you quite a bit. And what is just an ideal hair routine? So obviously you want to wash your hair, but you just don't want to use a shampoo every day. My recommendation is that you use a shampoo every other day. Use a conditioner, and if you do want to use the topical, use it twice a day for the best results. Is finasteride okay with low testosterone levels? Estrogen and progesterone are also very low due to aromatase inhibitor. No longer taking the aromatase inhibitor. So yes, finasteride is still okay if you have a low testosterone level. So in reality, I just want to explain this. I know a lot of doctors check your testosterone level, but in reality, your testosterone level may not always equate to how much hair you're going to be losing. So there's some patients that have very, very, very low testosterone level and are bald. So the question, well, how is that possible? The answer is because your testosterone has to bind to what's called a testosterone receptor. And hair loss is really determined by what's called the affinity of this receptor to testosterone. So people that genetically have good hair are the ones that genetically this receptor has a very, very low affinity. So no matter how much testosterone levels you have, low or high, it's not going to bind very well. But there's some people that have a very low amount of testosterone and they're bald. And the reason is because this receptor has a really, really high affinity for the testosterone. So even if you have a tiny bit amount of testosterone, it's just going to bind right away and cause miniaturization. So although having a high level of testosterone is generally not very good, but your testosterone level doesn't really determine where you're going to end up in the hair loss scale. Do you recommend using a laser cap too? So look, in our opinion, I think laser caps are about 50-50. So some patients do see results and some patients don't. So it really depends on the individual. It doesn't hurt patients using it, but for you to see if you're going to get the real benefits, it's really dependent upon the individual. I'm concerned taking your 8% minoxidil topical. I read a lot of comments from people who go through a bad shedding. I've had DHT hair loss for 15 years and losing anything in the front is a bit intimidating. What have you observed with your formula? So first of all, anything that you do for hair could cause hair shedding. And this includes, treatments, scalp treatments, oral minoxidil, oral finasteride, and even the topical stuff. If you even look at the Rogaine over the counter, you see it says that basically go through a hair shedding. The hair shedding is actually not necessarily a bad thing. It's just causing go through a purging period. So those are the hairs that were going to come out. It just purges them. And in our experience, patients that go through a hair shedding phase actually end up with better results. That means the medication is working on your hair, is resetting your hair cycle. So those patients typically, and the majority of cases, end up getting better results. And we've seen this because we have patients that shed all the time. We ask them to send us photos, and we've seen them in the clinic as well, and they were better at the 4 to 6 months than they were initially, despite the fact that they have hair shedding. So hair shedding doesn't always mean it's a bad thing. It's just a process that a lot of patients basically have to go through. That doesn't necessarily happen to everyone. It happens to less than 5% of patients. So, but yes, I understand it's something to be concerned about and worried about, but it's not always a bad thing.
How common is it for the shedding to go past that period, and what do you do if that happens to you?
So typically the shedding usually lasts about 2 to 3 months. Again, even if the shedding continues past the 3 months, there are two options. One, I will first take photos and compare to how you look initially to actually see where you're at, because some patients actually look better than they did initially, despite the fact that they're shedding. And how much you shed always doesn't correlate to how much hair you're growing out. Now, there are some patients that continue to shed after the 3rd month, and they are truly losing hair. In that instance, I would just stop the medication. Any recommendations for dandruff from the top? Yes, so some of the topical cause irritation. So a couple of things you could do. One, you could, instead of using it twice a day, you could just use it once a day. Two, when you put on like at 8 o'clock at night, in about 2 hours later, you could just wash it off, because the longer it sits in your scalp, the more irritation it could cause. So just wash it off after 2 hours. Three, you could actually buy like a scalp serum, on Amazon, like a collagen serum, and apply it to your scalp, and that will help you. Number four, you can actually reach out to Happy It, customer support, and said they have irritation, and we could either reduce the minoxidil concentration or take out the retinoic acid, or sometimes basically remove the minoxidil completely. So we could kind of like play around with it. So it really depends on your situation. But again, I know you could also use a leave-in conditioner as well. So why don't you just start out with, by using the conditioner, just use it for 2 hours and then wash it out. You do that maybe once a day. Do those 3 steps first before you see what we could do. There's also water-based formula where we take out 80% of the alcohol. That's called the aqueous-based formula. You can always basically switch over to that. So just reach out to Happy It, and we'll be more than happy to help you.
When you use a leave-in conditioner, should you shampoo also?
Yes. So you shampoo, and then you take a conditioner, it's a leave-in conditioner, you just put it on, and it just basically stays there. You just don't wash it out. Can you still get hair growth results from using a derma roll alone? A little bit. There are studies out of Australia where people basically just did derma roll like every night and they started good results. But obviously, it's going to work better if you were to do it with a topical product.
Is it better to start with an oral or a topical?
That's a great question. It really depends upon the individual. So there are some people that absolutely hate putting stuff on their hair, absolutely hate it. And also have some females that it gets messy, and it dries out, and they don't shower every day. So for those people, honestly, I think it's easier to go on the oral. I mean, it really is. It's one capsule. You take it, do the super capsule. It's 3-in-1. It's easy. People get great results. But then there's also some people that absolutely hate taking a pill, and they don't want to basically have increased side effects from taking a pill. So in that case, basically, then the topical is the best option. So it really depends upon the individual.
What happens if you don't take it for about 5 to 7 days?
That's a good question. Oh, one more thing about the oral. So as a physician, I come with Happy It, and I used to use the topical all the time. But then my wife got pregnant, so I had to stop. So I had to resort to the oral. So basically, for me, it's easier to take the oral because I have 3 kids and I have a very busy life schedule. So I also have my cholesterol medication, the Happy It stuff, take it and move on. Now, if you do miss a couple days, it's fine. I mean, your hair, you're not going to have a hair loss in 5-7 days. But if you skip 3 months, that's going to make a big deal.
Okay. If you want to take it only once a day, the topical medication, yes. What's the max amount you can use? So
it's 3 of the half drops. So you can use up to 1.5 millimeter per application if you only do it once a day.
And then we can wrap it up.
Great. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us on another AMA session. Again, please remember that basically all of this information is for your educational purposes only, and it should not really judge. It should not really, don't use this information to make any medical decision making, please talk to one of our doctors or your doctor as well. And also, please do use the coupon code AskDrBen60 for 60% off your first order. And we are always asking our current patients to please write us a review on Trustpilot. We work really hard to provide great customer service and information. We really try to become the authority of hair on the internet. So really appreciate the reviews on our Trustpilot page. Thank you so much. And we're gonna see you on our next MA session. Francesca, did we figure out who answered it correctly?
Yes.
Perfect. So Francesca figured out who answered it correctly, and she's going to get in contact with you guys. And thank you so much for joining. And thank you, Francesca, Genevieve, and Marie, who basically does the copyright. She's not here, but she does it at home. I'm pretty sure she's listening. Thank you, everyone.